The Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors: EliteForm.com and IgnitionAPG.com. And now, the Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast. Welcome to Iron Game Chalk Talk with your host, Ron McKeefery.
Every time our athletes walk into this weight room, they're going to be pushed to the max.
Let's go! Everything you got!
On this podcast, hear Coach McKeefery's straight talk about training, featuring the top strength and conditioning professionals from around the world. And now, here's your host, Ron McKeefery.
Hey guys, welcome back to Iron Game Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and this is episode number 60. Iron Game Chalk Talk is a weekly podcast where I bring you experts in the field to talk shop. If you're not already done so, please subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube, or join our mailing list at ronmckeefery.com to stay up with the latest things that we have going on and whatever the latest episode is. This week, excited to have Scott ODell with us. Scott is the head strength coach at East Central, Oklahoma. He's been the head strength coach at William Jewell College. He's been an assistant at Cal, worked for the Washington Redskins, and a host of other things coming up through the ranks. But real excited to have Scott with us. Scott, I read an article recently that he had written on sand training, and so that's why I wanted to have him on the show. So we talked a little bit about that, some of the pluses and negatives of sand training, some of the parameters and protocols that he uses. We talk a little bit about the small college life and how, in a lot of ways that becomes the best training grounds for strength coaches, because you have to do a lot with a little. And, having been at East Central and William Jewell and some places like that, he's really done a great job of maximizing his place. And we talk a little bit about his book, The Power Revolution, and about the writing process and just putting his thoughts on paper. And so excited to have gotten that from him as well, and I would encourage you to reach out and grab your copy. I know you're going to enjoy this episode, but before we get into it, I want to make sure we recognize our sponsors, EliteForm.com and IgnitionAPG.com. EliteForm is a sports science company based in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we've talked about them on the show quite a bit. But in times like this is we're shooting this on break here, 4th of July week, discretionary week, and so programs like their paperless system, being able to push workouts to any device, or their strength planner, being able to design the programs and then push them through is a game changer. It saves tons of time and makes it very easy for me to modify workouts and gets things out to our athletes. And so I would highly recommend you checking out EliteForm.com and what they have going on. I think they're at the forefront of where a lot of things are headed, and just a great company to check out. And so reach out to them, let them know how much you appreciate them supporting Iron Game Chalk Talk, continuing to help bring this show to you for free, and as well as Ignition APG. Lastly, if you enjoy these podcasts, you will definitely love strength-ondemand.com. Strength on Demand is an online archive of strength and conditioning clinic presentations that Rob Taylor and myself put together. We're constantly adding to this as we get clinic presentations from various clinics, and it's just a great way to continue to sharpen the sword on your time at your pace. And so I would highly encourage you to check out Strength-on-Demand. So sit back and enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, real excited to have Scott ODell. He's the head strength coach, East Central University in Oklahoma, and got a chance to get to know him better at the CSCCA conference a little bit just recently, and read an article of his that really inspired this episode not too long ago about sand training. So we want to get him on about that, but man, I appreciate you coming on. You just got married, freaking come back from the honeymoon, rested, and you're ready to go, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I came back, hit the ground running, started summer training as soon as we got back. And, just thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very excited and honored to be on, and been looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about, your journey, how you got into the field and how you got to your current role.
Well, I would say I started training for football and sports in general when I was in 7th grade, and I was always just enamored at how fascinated how can you get the body to get from point A to point B, bigger, stronger, faster, all those things. How could you do it? And I was one of the few people I knew that loved training for football as much as I loved football. So as soon as I found out there were strength and conditioning coaches, and I was always wanting to be a coach, I was had a lot of inspiration to do that from some positive mentors in my life, and then I heard about strength and conditioning. It was just a perfect fit for me. So I always knew since about 7th, 8th grade that's what I wanted to do, and played high school football and went on to play small college football, and had a good strength and conditioning experience there, and then went on to did my undergrad internship at Kansas State University under Coach Cole there, and he's still a very big mentor to me as a person and a strength coach to this day.
Help get me in the field.
Pardon me?
Help get me in the field, Rod Cole.
Oh, okay.
Stud.
Yeah, great man there, and then got a graduate assistantship at San Jose State from there, and got to learn a lot under Kim Sword there, and then spent 4 years at the University of California at Berkeley. Cal there had a real good experience. Started as an assistant strength coach, went on to become the associate head strength coach of the football weight room by the time I left there, and then from there went and was a long-term internship type position with the Washington Redskins, and got to have a real fun time there. Got to be a part of the program there and everything, and then received the place where I played college football at William Jewell College. It was NAIA in the 90s when I was there, and then they making the transition from NAIA to Division II, and I got to be the first head strength coach over there, and then just this last August took the position here at East Central University, and things have been going great.
That's awesome. Well, there's a quick story now. I don't know if I told you this while we were out there. So I'm playing in Ottawa. I'm a quarterback, having a really good game. I was from Kansas City, so Jewel's right in Kansas City. And I have a pretty good game. My mom's there watching. I've thrown 3 touchdown passes in the first half, but we had missed an extra point, so we're going for a 2-point conversion. And so I'm rolling right, and I drop. I see nothing's open. I see the tight end come open out of the corner of my eye, and I step back, throw it to him, and I just get destroyed. Right, concussion. I'm out. I'm out, but I'm up. Walk off the field. We kick off, go 3 and out. The trainers are there with me. They're trying to get me ready to go back out. And I finally come through. I'm here, punt return. I finally come through. And they're like, "Where are you at?" And so across in big letters is Jewell on the home stands. And I'm like, "Jewell." They're like, "All right, you're fine. Get back in there." I was pretty messed up, but I didn't last too long. But that's my William Jewell story. So, well, that's awesome, man. So you've been a lot of big places. And you've also been in some smaller places, some NAIA programs and things like that. What are some of the positives of being in like a William Jewell or an East Central, or versus like being at a Cal or an NFL program or something like that? And then what are some challenges and what are some of the rewards?
The one thing I have yet to meet a strength coach yet who says, okay, I have everything I want. So there's always going to be some challenges anywhere you go,
sure.
Some different challenges going on. So, but it's been a lot of fun at William Jewell and East Central University. It's been at William Jewell, it was a lot of fun being the first head strength coach there, and it was a challenge because it was a new idea to so many student athletes there about weightlifting and putting weight on the bar and getting everyone into it and getting everyone to buy into it, to believe in what you're doing, believe in how you're trying to help them, believe it will benefit them, and it became I feel it was very rewarding, where it became a very positive culture there. By the time I left there, it was very hardworking, very positive. I would say it was a positive experience for the kids, and they enjoyed it and they got better from it. And then At East Central, so there's some difference in facilities and so forth. William Jewell, we had a basketball arena with like 5 basketball courts in it, so it gave us a lot of flexibility for speed, agility, plyos, no matter what the weather was. We've got a much bigger weight room, but we've got 1 basketball court. So, and then there's men's and women's basketball and volleyball using that, all 3 using that. So there's different challenges and so forth. But it has been at East Central, it's been a real positive experience. It's been came and did a lot of things differently. And I know none of us ever agree 100% on anything. We all have a different way of doing things, and I had some new things I was implementing, and the challenge was there to get the kids to buy into it, believe in it, and we did that, and we got a lot of positive results from it, and it's really going good. A lot of very positive experience, and kids really believe in what we're doing.
Yeah. I often, when I first got to South Florida, it was a 1AA program, and it was, our football offices were in trailers, and our weight room was a 2,000 square foot weight room that, had green walls, floor to ceiling, and, I'm so grateful of that experience, because it forced me to really challenge myself and get outside of a comfort zone and really figure out logistics and understand those types of things matter when it comes to setting the environment for the room. And so I think that, especially for the young strength coaches listening to this, the opportunity to be in a type of setting like that will make you 100 times better strength coach, in my opinion. And I think you agree with me.
Yeah, and the Division II level, I guess one of the biggest challenges you might find is scheduling. The class flexibility isn't there for the kids. The whole priority scheduling situation isn't the same as it might be where you're enrollment of 5,000 versus Cal, you got an enrollment of 30,000, and it's easy to arrange around your strength and conditioning times, but at the same time you have to protect yourself as a strength coach. If you try to do 5 days a week, 5:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. so that everyone can have a lockdown team time, you're gonna suffer for it. I believe. Right. Your enthusiasm is gonna hurt. Your positivity is gonna be hurting. Your life outside, family, so forth, might be suffering from it. So you have to. What I've done with scheduling is kind of create both Division II situations where here I've got a few GAs, and William Jewell, I didn't have any GAs, and so our speed agility plyos, we make team sessions, and then weightlifting wise, I just kind of create quasi team times. So there might be 3 football players coming in when softball's lifting. There might be 2 volleyball players coming in when there's a football group going. Actually, we even shared the weight room between men's and women's basketball last semester. So try to find if everyone will, the bottom line is that we develop the body for performance and injury prevention, and find creative ways to schedule that way with whatever you can do facilities and staffing wise, and so that's kind of how I've resolved the scheduling challenges, is the quasi team times.
Yeah, no, that's great. What we try to do is we try to keep the team times in the off season the same time that they would practice. So if they practice at 4 o'clock, we try to keep their training at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
That way, because most coaches are going to want to keep those times open for spring ball or fall ball or something along those lines. And, strength and conditioning a lot of times becomes a back thought when those things are going on. But, that way it's a way of kind of tricking the system, I guess. And then for the in-season teams, then it does become, hey, let's get you in these quasi times, like you say, around your class schedule so that we can get you in, get your lift in. And then, try to utilize, maybe Sunday nights or something like that where, that you're able to get everybody condensed so that your week's maybe not as bad, and so, sometimes it goes 7 days a week, but at the same time, it's a little bit better week than if it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
We talked briefly, at the CSCCA conference about this, but I wanted that. This is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because I read your article. I really liked your article on sand training, and I know that you implement that quite a bit where you're at. Talk a little bit about the benefits of sand training and how it might be a little bit different than like pool training or something like that.
Well, I think it's a real valuable tool to have in the box. I feel like I'm confident we've had a lot of success at preventing injury and increasing performance and increasing the mechanics of movement, or good quality movement. And sand training's been a tool. I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all of strength and conditioning, but it's been an effective tool to have in the box. And we do it early on in the off-season, and we're trying to learn that quality movement. So part of it, I feel like you learn great without having to think about it. Like I always try to figure out how can I create quality movement and make it habitual for the athlete without having to try to minimize thinking. So because when you're out there, if you're a linebacker and you're going, oh, it's a reverse, and I have to change direction. You aren't thinking, okay, drop the hips, come out of a sprinter start, lateral, 45-degree body angle going the other way. You're looking at the play, analyzing the play, you're thinking about your playbook. So you want that quality movement to be just habitual, so you aren't thinking about it. And with the same training, you get when you go into a cut, your feet sink into the sand, so naturally your body gets to that 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle coming back out of the cut. When your foot's sinking into the sand, so your body reacts naturally by getting your knee really high for that, just coming out of a sprinter start again, coming out of a cut. And then I always try to say, teaching agility is change of direction. Try and think of your body like the Matrix when they're running up against the wall. If you've seen that movie, which anymore, it's an old enough. I guess we're getting old, but it's about half the kids have seen it these days. So, so you try to think of getting your body as low to the ground as you can, and you get your hips low, and that the lower you get your hips, the more you take stress and energy out of your knees and your quads and glutes and hamstrings, and emphasize all those points. And then you also, going barefoot, you get a really good opportunity there as tennis shoes have gotten thicker and softer and cushier over the years. The incidence of leg injuries went up. The theory would be that we're shutting down a lot of muscles and ligament development and so forth by the thicker, softer tennis shoes, which I love as much as anyone. But it's a good opportunity to get out of your shoes and get some things reactivated there. And then also when you're barefoot, you get naturally you keep your heels and toes up better, working off the balls of your feet. And I forget where I read it or heard it, but I remember the example being given of where a kangaroo is an animal that moves really good on the balls of its feet. You see how the quick-footedness and spring and hop and bounce they move with. So I always use those points to try and sell the athletes on what we're trying to do with it. And I believe it has some injury preventative benefits to it, and also some quality movement benefits to it, and just some muscular development and quick-footedness, physical. Well, all in all, physical attribute benefit to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when you're in a team setting, and let's say you got a football team out there, what does that workout look like when you go out to that? Today we're going to work in the sand. Is that all you're doing for that day? How do you logistically running that workout?
Yeah, well, we get it would just be sand that day. I have done it before where at William Jewell, we had the football field right next to the rec center's sand pits, so we could go warm up, and we might do that. We'd do that barefoot and then go walk right into the sand after that. Here at ECU, we've got the sand pit not very close to the football field, so we'll go out there and it'll just be nothing but the sand that day, and so we'll get and if it's hot or anything like that out, I forewarn the athletes and tell them to bring some socks that they don't care about, and because that sand can get awful hot on the feet or cold too. If it's in the 30s or 40s, the athletes don't like that either. It's not comfortable, but so you can wear socks to help prevent the discomfort from the weather conditions of training in the sand, and yeah, it'll be like at William Jewell, we had 3 volleyball courts in the rec center, all attached as one sand pit. So we could get 20-yard movements in there and have shutdown room and everything. At ECU, we've got 1 volleyball court from the rec center, and so I might skip back and forth 4 times to create a 20-yard movement there. We'll do all the same warm-up stuff. And then, I would love to do some linear speed work in the sand pit, but there's just not the room to do that. There hasn't really been that kind of room anywhere I've been. So we keep it to agility drills and plyometrics. And so, like the standard agility drill, we can get 4 to 6 groups going across there, where we have a speed square drill, where sprint forward, karaoke, back pedal, side shuffle back through the start. So we work that transition from one movement to another in agility. We can get the figure 8 drill, so we're working on speed cut there. Then we can get the pro agility drill, so we're working the power cut, the outside cutting foot, and then like forward and backs, just 5 yards forward, 5 yards back, 5 yards forward, 5 yards back, and sprint through. So those are all ways that we can get the benefit of the sand work and have room to do it and have room to make it an efficient situation. Like, with the football groups, I would break them down small enough that we're in groups of 20 to 25, something like that. So, I wouldn't, with one volleyball court or for the sand pit, I wouldn't attempt it with all 100 guys on the team or anything like that. So at once, so we break it down in small enough groups so we can apply it. And then if the spacing is limited, we just figure out what drills can we run. So what plyometric drills can we run, what agility drills can we run. And I was talking to a high school coach in Kansas City, emailed me right when the sand training article came out, and so I sent him the link, and but he told me what he had was a long jump pit. And so I was like, well, if you want to use the sand training, just see from the article what can you use. And he had a copy of my book, so he's familiar with all the terminology and everything, what I was talking about. And so it was all in the article. And so there's some stationary plyometric drills he can do, rotate guys through as they're so they can get their rest. Maybe he just does some lateral shuffling, so you still get that power cut, forward lean movement coming out of the sand. So you just you do. There's no, very rarely is there a perfect situation, so you just do what you can with what you have and figure out what you can do with it logistically, and there can be some benefit from it. And then the other thing is also getting cleaned up, so it's tough to do too many things in one day, because you do have to realize everyone's probably not going to put their socks and shoes back on with a bunch of sand all over them. So so you figure into that situation where they might need to go to the locker room and shower their feet off or something.
Well, what is the ideal size? I mean, if you had a whole team out there, what would be? Is it 3 volleyball courts worth of sand to try to get the whole team through, or?
Well, the whole beach would be nice, but but I would say if you had 100 guys out there, I think at Jewell I could get 40 guys efficiently through workout with 3 volleyball courts. So if you're looking at 100 guys, you might want 5 or 6 volleyball courts worth of sand. That's just doing nothing linear speed wise that covers a lot of distance. That's just doing your agility drills and your plyometric drills that don't take up a ton of space. Just get up going and then have shutdown room too.
Right. Well, is there a certain depth that the sand should be?
That is something where there are some specifications they have for making the sand. I would say our sand volleyball courts at both places I've used them at have been about 3 to 4 feet in depth. And then there is, I guess, this expensive product. I mean, if you don't think about it, like I'm initially thinking, why does it cost so much? I mean, I'll go out there and dig the hole myself for that much money. And there's a whole drainage system that needs to be put in. There's a whole, or else when it rains, the sand will flood over the top and everything. So I guess there's a lot more that goes into it than what I ever initially thought with the sand court. So it can be an expensive process to get done.
Right. Yeah. I've always wanted to build one, but then I like the idea of being able to run out of it onto hard ground. Mm-hmm. That's been an issue. Some of the places that I've been with sand volleyball courts, with having the barrier type deal. Have you done any of that transition work from sand up to hard surface?
No, I haven't really. The sand volleyball courts I've worked with is William Jewell and East Central. at East Central, it's kind of up on a hill, so there's nowhere to really run once you get off the court. And then at Jewell, it was sidewalks on both ends. So, it was really steep down one hill the other way, tennis courts on one side, and then sidewalk on the other side. So, so it just, the opportunity for that hasn't been there.
Well, what I like about it, and what you alluded to earlier too as well, is that it's a change of environment for your athletes that naturally is going to reinforce some of the coaching things that we were looking for with 45-degree leans and driving knees and things along those lines. And I would imagine your athletes love it when you change the environment up a little bit, and that they really enjoy being out in the sand, if for no other reason other than it's maybe a little bit less impact on their joints as well. Yeah,
and I think they enjoy it, and it's a tough workout when you sprint as hard as you can. I've got ways to emphasize going all the way through. We always finish our drills hard all the way through, and when you're going all out with it, it's a lot tougher than it looks like. And unless you try it, you might think, oh well, that's easy. They're just moving like 5 yards at a time. But that repeated bout of speed and explosion with your feet sinking in there, it's a tough workout, and it does a lot of good. And I look at it's one of those tools in the box that I think are effective. I put it in the early part of the off season, I should say.
Yeah.
And I think that my whole belief is that there aren't any bad ideas out there. It's just where can it fit into your yearly plan, facilities, staffing, all those things. And
sure.
When you have a progression going from one thing to another with a yearly plan, it's not change just for the sake of change, but it provides you a natural change of environment for the athlete where they don't get too mentally stale with it, but you're still progressing towards a goal with an end objective and everything. And when you can communicate that to them, they're really buying into it and really believing in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, man, I know we had to push this interview an hour because I got held up with recruiting and camps and the whole deal. So I appreciate that, man. And it's a Saturday, so I want to get you going. But before we do, I always end these things with some resources. And so let's start off with a motivational quote, either one that you have in your weight room or one that you live by or share with your athletes regularly.
Well, I'm getting ready to hang the Vince Lombardi poster up in a frame in the weight room now. So what it takes to be number one, the speech. So, but I'd say one of gosh, there's so many quotes I love reading, and but I might go number one with Vince Lombardi with the quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. So I really think it's something I always emphasize to people: to never stop learning, never stop committing yourself to excellence. The day you think you know it all is the kiss of death, where you start to go downhill because someone's out there ready to pass you up. So
that's right.
Yourself to excellence and keep at it and keep learning and keep growing. And I really like that quote to kind of put that all encompassing in there.
No, that's great. Well, I know you're an author yourself. You have a book, The Power Revolution, right?
Yeah.
Where can people find that?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's Coach's Choice is a publisher, so it's on their website, and it's quite often at the conventions and so forth on their book stand.
Okay, good.
And then it's on Amazon as well.
Okay, good. Well, definitely check that out. But give us a book that you read recently, or one that you recommend every strength coach should read.
I really like. Gosh, there's a lot. I've really enjoyed reading James Radcliffe's stuff at the University of Oregon. When I was at Cal working under John Krasinski there, he had gotten the opportunity to work under Coach Radcliffe at Oregon, and I've really enjoyed anything he puts into print. He's got some good high-powered plyometrics, really good book. A lot of things that can translate not just to plyometrics, but to everything in strength and conditioning for you there. And there's a lot of authors. I repeat read a lot of Bill Kramer, William Kramer. I really enjoyed him. Lawrence Seagrave, anything he has in DVD or print, I've really enjoyed. Johnny Parker's become a big mentor of mine recently, without having actually got to meet him. But
right. He's awesome.
Leadership-wise, John Maxwell, really enjoy him. Tony Dungy. A lot of I'd love to read.
Yeah. no, Coach Dungy's, he got Uncommon, and then Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws is the go-to leadership book for me, but, the Difference Maker and some of the other ones are great.
Yeah, we got some of the same library, I suppose.
Yeah, no, we got no doubt. Those are some good ones. What about, when you're surfing the web, a website that you go to that you recommend for strength coaches, and then also let's add in an app or something that maybe you use with your athletes or for personal productivity or anything like that?
Websites, I guess I've done more internet searching on various topics and so forth, and then I read. I have people I really enjoy reading. I wouldn't say there's any one website I really went to real often for strength and conditioning. I've done more of the I really find topics, surf the web, find various topics. If it's something I like, I print it out. I like having stuff in my hands and highlighting and writing notes and making marks and everything. So I guess I'm kind of old-fashioned with that. I enjoy the books and having the papers in my hand and everything.
Sure.
As far as the technology I've incorporated in the program, it would be Microsoft Excel is probably about as technology we've gotten. Each player has their own sheet, and right now at William Jewell and here, I've really worked more on we're still looking at getting more barbells and more bumpers, things like that at both these schools. So more things to just get the athletes in and out and efficiently in a hardworking environment, a positive environment. Haven't really just had that situation to get into a lot of the technology we have available to us today.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it's just I tell our athletes all the time, I tell recruits that the barbell and plate hasn't changed in over 100 years, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that for sure. Well, Scott, I know it's a Saturday, man. I know you, and I had to push you an hour on because of this recruiting and stuff. But man, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us and being so free with your information. And we'll make sure to link up your book and the article that we're talking about and your social media and stuff in the show notes. But truly appreciate you taking the time and sharing, buddy.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. I'm honored to have been on and greatly appreciate the opportunity.
That's it for this episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk. Thanks to this week's guest as well as our sponsors, EliteForm.com and IgnitionAPG.com for bringing this episode to you for free. Make sure to check out RonMcKeefery.com where you can join our mailing list, find the show notes, including all the links and resources mentioned, and information about Coach McKeefery's other products. While you are there, please join Coach McKeefery in the comments section thanking our guest for sharing. If you haven't subscribed to Iron Game Chalk Talk on YouTube or iTunes yet, make sure to do so. Comments, ratings, and reviews are always welcome. Coach McKeefery can be found on Twitter at @RMcKeefery, on Facebook and YouTube at /Ron.McKeefery. That's it for this week. Be sure to check back next week for another great episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk.